Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tad Talk again. It's Monday, and do I look a little bit redder than normal? It's because we went to San Diego and got burned. But my backdrop behind me might give a little bit of a clue here, but I can't introduce today's show. I have to leave it to my partner in crime over here. Good morning, Nick. How are you?
I am great.
Good.
How are you doing?
It's all yours.
So, we've been doing Tad Talk for 3 seasons now, and there's been a few shows. I've done a lot of the episodes, and there's been quite a few that I've been really excited for, and very rarely have I geeked out over an episode or a guest that we've had on, but today is pretty special for me because anyone who knows me at all knows that my favorite movie franchise of all time is Back to the Future, and the guy that we have on today has an amazing long history of acting in movies and Hollywood, and a little slice of that has a big role in Back to the Future parts 2 and 3. Check out this video. Oh my gosh, Jeffrey Weissman from Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3. Jeffrey, how are you doing? Oh, where is he?
He's
gone back in time. There he is. Hello.
Make an entrance.
How are you doing, Jeffrey?
I'm pretty good. I'm hoping everyone's staying healthy, safe.
Absolutely. Definitely, yes.
Safe and sane, that's for sure. The one thing that stuck out in that opening video to me was just that you got to kiss Leah Thompson.
Well, you know, I appreciated the opportunity. I felt sorry for her because I was, in so much prosthetic makeup. It was probably like kissing a mask.
That's what everyone's doing nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Mask on mask kissing.
I guess she's been spreading the rumor that she really tried to kiss me deeply with a no.
You heard it here first, folks. Well, Jeffrey, it's absolutely awesome to have you on. Thanks again for agreeing to come on this. This is going to be a really cool interview, not only for us, but for everyone watching. We already have a bunch of comments coming in, and I know they're just going to keep going.
I'm in Cafe 80s, so as soon as my food arrives, I got to go.
Oh, okay. I've heard they're slow, though, so we have at least an hour, right? Awesome.
I don't have the hydrometer for my 4-second pizza yet. So I brought my own just in case.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Straight from the movie. That is so cool. So cool. Well, those of you who are watching right now, if you've seen Tad Talk before, you know how we start this. We start this by asking 3 random quick-fire questions to our guest, and today is no different. So, Jeffrey, I have 3 questions for you. Are you ready? All right, Jeffrey, first question. You've been kidnapped, and the main character of your favorite cartoon television series is coming to save you. Are you in good hands?
Oh, no. Well, immediately I thought of Ren and Stimpy. So probably not. If I went back to my youth and it was Bugs Bunny, then maybe I am. But
Bugs Bunny would save you. Bugs Bunny would save you. He could stop a falling plane seconds from the ground, so you're in good hands with Bugs, I think.
Whereas Ren and Stimpy, probably not.
No, they wouldn't even attempt it. All right, question number 2. It's an appropriate question for today, I think. If you could travel back in time to one poignant historical event or period of time, when would you go and what would you do?
Yikes. That's a very tough one. I never got to meet my dad's dad, so I'd probably want to go back and meet him. He actually owned interests in commissaries at both RKO and MGM, and also the pharmacies at those studios and various other places in Los Angeles. So I would have liked to have gone back and meet him. I was always fascinated by his story coming from Russia as a kid and making his way through the United States and becoming a famous or a successful businessman. Yeah. So I imagine, and I adored my grandmother, who he was married to, that was probably the only one in my family that truly believed in me as an actor. As a kid, my parents didn't want me to be an actor at all.
Wow.
But she did.
Yeah,
well,
good for her.
That's awesome. That's a great answer.
She had it right.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. And third and final question, who was your first celebrity crush?
Yo, brother. Well, as a little kid, I was friends with the neighbor Anissa Jones from Family Affair, and so she was a celebrity. I kind of liked, but it put me off, even though she was a half a year older than me, and I think we were 11, and she was already smoking cigarettes, and that put me off a little bit after having the crush. I remember being real little and going to see The Seven Faces of Dr. Lau, and Barbara Eden in that I thought was quite comely.
Oh, that's awesome.
I answered that question a few shows ago, and I gave my answer as Raquel Welch. But then after the show, I realized that I was 4 at the time, so it's a bit disturbing, that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I meet more and more people who swear they knew what their sexuality was when they were a kid, right away, whether they were straight, gay, or whatever. They often knew who they were, even though society said there's no way you could know.
Yeah.
People are born as they are.
Well, I don't have a vivid memory of it, but I think I knew when I saw her. I mean, I was 4, but who?
Was it by chance from 1 million years BC?
It was from that movie, yeah. Still,
you had quite a wardrobe there.
quite a half wardrobe there.
Oh, it's great.
Got lots of people. We're gonna shoot over to the Facebook feed and scroll up a little bit. Let's go one by one. Ruben Camacho said, "Hi, Jeffrey." Stephen,
hey.
Go down, Scott. You're going too fast for me. All the way down to the bottom again. There you go. Stephen Wickenden. Hi, Jeffrey. What was that, Jeff?
He's an old school chum.
Is that right? Excellent. Stephen Wickenden. Hi, Jeffrey. Chris
Hey,
Pay-
Stephen.
You know Stephen?
Stephen owns a time machine DeLorean in England.
Oh.
Does he really?
That's awesome.
He does.
Stephen, we want you on the show. We're looking for DeLorean owners.
That's right.
Hey.
Chris Paley, which movie that looking back on would you love to be in, and which character would you have liked to have played?
That's a good question.
It is a great question.
Oh, there's quite a few answers to that for me. You may have in the photos that I sent you a picture of me in front of the production offices of War Games. And that was one of the reasons I came to Hollywood. I was actually raised in LA and then went and got my training up in San Francisco at the American Conservatory Theater. And while there, fell into an opportunity by going to an open call that Martin Brest, who was the original director on that film, had. And they gave me a screen test with Ali Sheedy. The same day she tested with Dana Carvey and Eric Stoltz and a handful of other actors. And I got a very hot agent from that. Of course, I didn't get the role. Matthew Broderick went and got that. And I wanted that very badly, but I had no real cred yet. I had just done extra work on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and FM and The Rose and these other films. And then about a year later, I had the opportunity. I thought Richard Donner was going to be testing me for the lead in Lady Hawk. And since I had for many years worked at Renaissance fairs and had my Shakespeare chops pretty going, had done some Marlowe and some Thomas Dekker, I had really looked forward to playing that role in Lady Hawk of the Mouse. But just before my screen test for that, Matthew Broderick came down in his price. So I think I would have liked very much to have done that. Also, I came close on The Name of the Rose. I like the period pieces, the medieval stuff,
that's
because
awesome.
of my experience doing the Renaissance fairs, etc.
That's great.
That's great. What about you? Would you ever, what movie, if you could go back to any movie, any character, what would it be for you? Not Back to the Future.
Except Back to the Future. Before we get more comments and it goes by, I just want to say, Jay Vladimirov up there, lead admin from the Back to the Future Forever group, and I have to say, I've been a member of that group for a few years now, and if anyone out there is a Back to the Future fan, and you're not part of the Back to the Future Forever group, you need to go on there because it is just brilliant. Everything to do with Back to the Future. So please go check it out because it is fantastic. But any movie except Back to the Future.
Yeah, it can't be Back to the Future.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, I wouldn't want to take that away from Michael J. Fox because he was perfect for the role. He really was. So I would say, oh my God, that's really difficult. Patrick Swayze in Ghost. I would love to play his character.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
I love that. That would have been a really fun role to play. So.
Yeah, I like that.
I also came close on a film called The Creator with Muriel Hemingway and Peter O'Toole.
Nice.
And the director actually told my agent that I was one of his favorite for that role. I ended up not getting it, but not too long ago I wrote Muriel and explained to her that I came close on that one, and she said, "Oh, you would have been so much better."
Like it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
There's so many comments. We're going to try and get to all of them. That's always one of the challenges when we have a popular guest like you, Jeffrey. Someone asked, do you have a favorite scene from Back to the Future 2 or 3? Whether it's something you performed in or something you look back and see how it was edited?
There's so many. I mean, the first film, of course, knocked me out. I was such a huge fan already of Chris Lloyd's work and Michael J. Fox's work. And then the year before Crispin got George in Back to the Future, I worked with him on a film at the American Film Institute with Dan O'Herlihy. And I thought Crispin was a fascinating actor and got friendly, got his phone numbers, tried to stay in touch. And when that film came out, I said, "Oh, I know this guy. He's knocking it out of the park." He was doing an incredible job as George, and called him up and left messages. I'm sure he was getting calls from everyone because he was so great in that. And, I would have loved to, I have to say I have so many favorite scenes. I Am Your Density, the whole, from the get-go with the guitar and the amp flying Michael through the air, Marty through the air, and the dock and the tension putting the chords together during the lightning storm. There's just so many great scenes in the first film, and then in the second film as well. We spent amazing amounts of time on the tiniest things. So it took, for example, from outside the front door in Hill Valley 2015 McFly house to getting through the living room, through the dining room to the kitchen, almost 2 weeks just to do that short scene, because there was a lot of pickup shots to get, a lot of coverage, and a lot of makeup and costume changes. Michael played 3 roles, and every time Michael had to go change into Marlene or Marty Jr. From Marty, it took at least 3 to 4 hours. And some of the shoot days, I remember there was 1 week I had a 19-hour day, a 21-hour day, and a 26-hour long day. And most of that time hanging upside down.
Yeah, no kidding.
My gosh.
No kidding. I tell
a lot of people think that they put me upside down to obscure that it wasn't Crispin, but they had already planned for George to have been hit by a car that fell out of the sky while he was playing golf in Paradox in the script, well before they knew that Crispin wasn't coming back. In fact, I was kept in the dark. I did not know. I was originally asked if to be considered. They were considering me for his photo double. I figured they needed George in two places at the same time, and eventually I learned that he wasn't coming back. In fact, my makeup artist was the first one saying he was not coming back. I was like, I couldn't fathom how they could make it without him.
Yeah.
And I figured he had another film project that he couldn't get out of, that he had conflicts with or what have you. And then slowly but surely finding out that they, kind of butted heads. Obviously, Crispin rubbed production wrong, and Crispin was rubbed wrong by them. So eventually coming to light that it was a big disagreement was kind of painful and uncomfortable. And because I was friends with him, he called me when Part 3 came out, and he wanted to sue because of the makeup I wore as 17-year-old George. And I agreed. It didn't make sense because I played Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy, Groucho Marx, and Charlie Chaplin for Universal for 15 years, and they always bought the rights to the likeness of those characters, to use those characters. So I figured, Spielberg and Zemeckis and Bob Gale and Neil Catton all had the rights to that makeup. Little did I know they didn't. So it was a kind of an unfortunate scene, and it's very controversial, but it's out there. It is what it is. It's unfortunate that Crispin still holds his grudge and Bob Gale still holds his grudge, and I hope they come together for the fans and do something for Michael's charity.
That would be great if that did happen.
That would. Did that tension ever cause your friendship with either Gale or Crispin Glover to diminish, or are you still on good terms with both of them?
Yeah, no, when Crispin was done using me for his purposes of proving his point, there was no more communication from him.
Oh.
He did get his $750,000 settlement. I know a guy who's signed the check for the insurance company. And then Bob Gale kind of, I think he and production got upset, Universal, that I had even spoken with Crispin. And I ended up finding some evidence that I had been blacklisted from castings on that lot. And it was very unfortunate. And I thought it was all gone, but because I speak the truth and talk about it openly, the gaslighting has started again, and some of the blacklisting has started again, unfortunately, from that camp. So I'm just hoping that people realize, there was a little unethical stuff going on. They should apologize or make amends or not. It's up to them. But come together, get over it, and let's do something for the fans all together.
Without a doubt. Absolutely. It's a long time ago. A lot of water under the bridge for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
Without a doubt. We've got so many people here commenting on stuff.
I do want to say for the people who are on and asking questions and the fans, thank you, by the way. Keep them coming. If we can get to them, we will. But in about 10, 12, 15 minutes, we're going to start a trivia. It's a 10-question general knowledge movie trivia. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see tadtrivia.com/movies2. The number 2. Don't type out the word 2. So tadtrivia.com/movies2. Enter that into your phone or tablet, or just scan that QR code with your phone when the time is right. We'll let you know when that is, and you can win some awesome prizes if you become first through third today.
What can they win? Tell us.
Well, the first thing is you get 100 Tad Travel bucks. Now, what is Tad Travel? We'll tell you a little bit about that later, but basically we have VIP trips when this all clears up to Iceland and Bermuda and just anywhere, and you can get 100 bucks towards one of those trips. Also, Jeffrey has been kind enough for the first 3 winners to give a signed portrait of himself to whoever comes first through third. And also, for the first place winner, he has been very generous here, and he's going to give away this movie prop of a silver Pizza Hut. Oh, that is awesome. How cool is that? What's that?
It's a replica.
It's a replica. I get it.
Well,
still counts.
Still, though, it's still very cool. So, yeah, join us again in about 10 minutes, and we'll do that. Stay on, because we're still going to talk about the career and stuff now. And we definitely want to speak a bunch about Back to the Future and how that was. But you've had such a career past Back to the Future. You've had decades and decades of acting chops behind you. So tell us a little bit about what you've done outside of Back to the Future.
Oh boy, you got a few hours?
Well, I know Stan Laurel. I'd love to hear about the Stan Laurel, because if 3 or 4 people commenting on that.
Yeah, if you went to Universal Studios between 1987 and 2001 and had your picture with Laurel and Hardy, it more than likely was me as Stanley.
Right. Okay.
I was sort of in between TV and film work, and an agent who actually also played Stan Laurel had called me up, and his Oliver Hardy partner had lost his partner up at Universal, and he asked if I'd ever consider playing the role. And I went and auditioned. I was a fan of Laurel and Hardy, but I couldn't remember, all the mannerisms that Stanley had, and my bowler hat wasn't the right size, but I went and auditioned as best I could. Ironically, the Oliver Hardy performer knew my work. I had played Mercutio in a production of Romeo and Juliet just a year before, and he knew me from that. He was a stage manager. He turned to the boss and said, "This guy's got talent, I'll train him." And within a couple weeks, I was doing a passable Stan Laurel, and it was odd. About 2 weeks in, I remember an older African-American woman coming up to us, shuffling up and pointing at us saying, "I always wanted to meet you two before I died." And I was like, what did I get myself into? It was very surreal playing these iconic characters. A year later, after playing Stanley, I put Charlie Chaplin together, and a year after that playing Groucho Marx. And I know I can't ever do justice to the genius of any of those wonderful creatives, but at least I can do my best, and I'll find the voice placement, inflections, the mannerisms, the postures, the same type of thing I had to do for playing Crispin, for playing George.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
We've had
a quick shot of me as Mark Twain. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of our viewers here said you're one of the great character actors that are out there, a rare breed. And he asked, do you have any character actors that are either in the past or now that you really admire or look up to?
Oh, so many. I raised adoring the work of Alec Guinness and
Yes.
Charles Laughton, and the great classical character actors. There's so many, and in learning about Stan Laurel and the Lot of Fun of Hal Roach's Lot, I've learned of so many greats from there, from Edgar Kennedy to Billy Gilbert, the incredible, wonderful character actors there. And then that expanded my horizons into other great comics like Lupino Lane that people really don't know all that much about, who was Ida Lupino's uncle, who's from a family of 5 generations of actors and clowns. And the Lupino Lane films are like watching human cartoons because he was so agile and could run up walls and do the splits and come back to standing. I just love the great comics. I love current great character actors. You just had Mr. Simmons on, JD?
J.K.
Yeah,
Simmons,
JK.
yeah.
A wonderful character actor. There's a more modern. I've liked the versatility that Gary Oldman has handled. There's quite a few that I just respect so highly and hope to work with.
No, absolutely. So many
Definitely.
of them.
Did you know about that, by the way? 'Cause I did, and I wanted to go on it so bad, and I couldn't. And
I'm not sure Jeffrey can. Now he can see it. Andy Sowerwine said,
Hey, Andy.
ask Jeffrey about the Back to the Future cruise. It was a great time.
Oh, nice.
What's that? When was the Back to the Future cruise?
In 2015, for that big anniversary year,
Yeah.
I wanted to give something back to Michael, because ultimately it really is all about Michael.
Yeah.
And I got Harry Waters Jr. to agree to be the lead singer in a band I put together called Mr. Fusion, with Don Fullilove, who played Mayor Goldie Wilson, on bass, and Mark McClure, who played Dave McFly, who also played Jimmy Olsen in the Superman series with Christopher Reeve, on drums. And I play guitar, and so we put a Back to the Future band together, which was sort of the highlight last day of our cruise. I also brought Dean Cundy, the cinematographer, Kevin Pike, who was special effects and helper on the DeLorean Time Machine, with Andrew Probert, another designer from the DeLorean Time Machine crew. We were all on the cruise, and having 6 or 7 of the celebs from the films, I had about 50 fans come and have the time of their lives on an 8-day cruise, and it was a fundraiser for Michael's charity. I needed probably a couple hundred fans to sign up, and it was my first time producing a cruise, so I only got the 50, but we still raised about 10 grand.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's amazing. You know, we're putting a bunch of links on here where they can contact Jeffrey by email on his website, but we're also going to throw up the link for Michael's charity too. And it is a wonderful charity, and we've featured that a couple of times on the show. We're going to do it again today and feature on there. I have a little story for you I've got to tell you, Jeffrey, and this is a long one. I'm going to try and paraphrase it. So back in the 80s, my wife and I went to watch Back to the Future 1, loved it, 2, and so on and so forth. So flip forward, this young man, this is my son, he's born. He turns out to be about, I think, how old was he? Maybe 8 or 9. And I decide to buy him the Back to the Future trilogy on DVD for Christmas. And he opened it, he went, "Oh, okay, thanks, Dad," and puts it to one side. And I'm knowing, yeah, great, your dad gave you a DVD, you don't care, you're not going to watch it. And I kept saying, you got to watch it, you got to watch it. So one day, just after Christmas, we put it in, and since that day, he's been totally obsessed, to the point where he has a tattoo sleeve. Do you have a picture of that? Or do you want to take your clothes off?
Jesus.
It's all the way down here. Back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's big. It's everything. The DeLorean. It's got the flux capacitor on there. The 3 dates on the flux capacitor: his birthday, my birthday, and his mom's birthday. And it's a very, very cool tattoo. So anyway, it's pop culture, but it's been a big part of our life as a family. So 4 months ago, on a whim, literally Wednesday, we woke up and said, Back to the Future, the musical, is on in Manchester. Let's go. We bought a flight. We flew out on Thursday and watched the show on Friday, and it was absolutely amazing.
I hear it is. I hear it's fantastic, and I hear now it's set to go back up in London in June of 2021.
We saw that, yeah.
And I was just bawling afterwards, just because we looked over, and it's always cool when you meet people from something that you're so obsessed with. Yeah, exactly. Like whether it's a musician or actors or people who work behind the scenes of your favorite movie, for instance, and looked over, and Bob Gale and Alan Silvestri were just hanging out in the middle of the theater, and I was able to go over and speak to both of them for quite a few minutes. And meeting Bob Gale was great, but for me as well, meeting Alan Silvestri, because even besides Back to the Future, he did Castaway, he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he did Forrest Gump, and when I say that, Alan Silvestri did the music for all of these, for those of you watching who don't know, and it's, oh my God, that was just a lifetime. That was a highlight for me. That was just incredible.
It was a wonderful treat.
It was a fabulous musical, so well done. And ironically, there were many highlights in the show in terms of characters, but the guy that played George McFly was brilliant. The role was brilliant, and he was so good in it.
Yeah, I follow him on social networks.
Yeah, it's
nice.
great.
Yeah,
so we are playing Tad Trivia with Jeffrey Weissman. Go ahead and scan that QR code or type that into your smartphone or your tablet. It's tadtrivia.com/movies and the number 2. And you can win 100 Tad Travel bucks. And the top 3 are going to win signed autographed photo from Jeffrey.
Can I play?
You can absolutely play.
Don't give away the answers before the time runs out. Don't give away the answers, but absolutely, we want to hear what you think all the answers are.
While you're scanning that or typing that in, we're also going to switch to this Facebook feed, so we can just scroll up slowly. Sam Kane said, "What a great day! Watching Nick make those memories was pure magic." Donna Porter, Jeffrey is one of the kindest, generous, and giving people I know. Chris Paley said, "Proud Northerner here." Me too, Chris. I'm from Manchester. Looks like you may be. Are you red or blue? I know this is selfish, but could you give me a reminder of where we could donate to Michael's charity?
Absolutely.
We are absolutely going to put that in this comment feed on there. Keep scrolling. That'd be great. There's a bunch of them here. Let me see. We should do that cruise again. I agree.
Definitely.
We're going on it with you.
Just a bunch of things coming in right now, aren't there?
Yeah, he's great. Nick really wants to win the Pizza Hut foil.
You know me so well, Sam.
So this is great, and we'll definitely get to all of these once the show's over.
Absolutely.
We have a bunch on YouTube too, and we will get to them. So we're going to play Tad Trivia, and we're going to give away some of this cool stuff. There's one more there. Kevin Birmingham said, Jeffrey's dedication and especially endurance being the Polar Express hobo for the Sacramento Railroad Museum's annual event was beyond professional. I have deep respect for him. Amazing actor.
Nice.
Yeah, that's Kevin Birmingham. And there was someone at the end who just made a quick quote on the bottom there. Tracy Lawrence, just love, Back to the Future.
Evertonian Chris Paley.
Chris Paley, you're an Evertonian. Well, that's okay. So long as it's not the other side of that city, I'm okay with that. TadTrivia.com/movies2. Scan that code. We've got a big code in case you can't scan that little one. And it looks something like that. Just scan that. Put your phone on it, put your camera on, go beep. And
go like what, sorry?
Beep. That's my, yeah.
It's a fax machine. Use your fax machine to scan this code.
And Sue Davies Gaddy said, can you put the trivia info on here again, please? So we'll try to post that underneath there, or you can scan that QR code, and we are going to hit that trivia screen.
I think so.
Do you know what picture I've got on trivia today?
You did show me a little earlier.
That's it.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's Jeffrey Weissman movie trivia. Some Back to the Future stuff, but other stuff too.
I think there's only one Back to the Future question in here. And I put the trivia together, and it was really difficult to not ask, because there's a bunch of Back to the Future fans on here. I think I am very well versed in everything Back to the Future, but if anyone on this watching right now were to test me with Back to the Future, they would just pwn me.
Well, maybe Jeffrey, if Jeffrey's got some Back to the Future trivia in his head, maybe he can test you. I'll test you on some too.
Okay.
We actually, the guy that runs the Back to the Future group you talked about, Back to the Future Forever, I think.
Yeah.
We should invite him on the show, and we'll do a Back to the Future with some really tough Back to the Future stuff. So I'm
ready.
Yeah, we're going to start this trivia again.
What was the original way in the script that Marty returned from 1955 to 85?
Was that a refrigerator?
I think the DeLorean was originally imagined. The time machine was originally imagined as a refrigerator, but when they switched it from when they switched it to a DeLorean, before the clock tower, there was another way that he got back.
Oh, I'm going to think about that one. I'm going to think about that. But right now, we have the first question up here for trivia. Which was the first James Bond movie to come out? Was it Diamonds Are Forever, Goldfinger, Dr. No, or From Russia with Love?
I think that your uncle may have been in one of these movies, Jeffrey.
Joseph Weissman?
Yeah, I think so. Do you think so?
I've actually played Dr. No a few times to honor him, but yeah, I once told a casting director he was my uncle, and she believed me.
Nice.
He spells his name a little differently.
Well, let's look and see what the viewers said.
Most people said Dr. No, and then just under that, they're tied for Goldfinger and From Russia with Love. Jeffrey, which one do you think it is?
I thought it was From Russia with Love, but little did I know.
It was indeed Dr. No. I won $5 from Jeffrey a little earlier with answering that one correctly.
All right, next question.
Casino Royale was the first one, the first book at least.
Yes,
right.
Definitely. For which of these movies did John Williams not compose the musical score? Was it Jaws, Home Alone, Castaway, or Jurassic Park? If you were listening earlier, I said the answer to this.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Jaws, Home Alone, Castaway. John Williams, great composer, but did not compose Back to the Future.
He did not.
No,
that was Alan Silvestri.
Any ideas, Jeffrey?
I think it's B.
B, Home Alone. Let's see what people said. Most people said Castaway. Home Alone is coming in at a second. Which one is it? Castaway is correct. Let's see this leaderboard.
Yeah.
Front to the paw. I don't know what that is, but front to the paw. Front to the past. Okay, there you go. Front to the past is right up top. That's awesome. All right, you can take the next question, Dad.
I got it. Let's fire away. Which musician voiced the role of Dodger in Disney's Oliver and Company? Yes, I nearly said Oliver. A, Tiny Tim. B, David Bowie or Bowie. C, Sting. D, Billy Joel. Who voiced the role of Dodger in Oliver and
Why
Company?
should I worry?
That was a song. Why should I worry?
Care? Yeah.
Yeah. We should intersperse some Back to the Future stuff here. Like, you know, stuff you won't get. Like, how fast did the DeLorean need to go in order to travel?
I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to answer that.
Jeffrey, any ideas of the answers?
Well, you know, I was friends with Tiny Tim for a little bit.
Were you really?
A fascinating performer. Just amazing to hear him perform with this ukulele. Could go on straight for an hour without stopping. Just a remarkable talent.
My gosh.
But I don't him. And I'm such a huge Bowie fan. I think I would know if it was Bowie. So I'm going to say it's either Billy Joel or Sting. Probably Billy Joel.
Most people said Billy Joel. Let's see if they're right. Absolutely, it was Billy Joel. Great movie, and he did really well in it. He did it for his daughter Alexa, is what I heard.
Yeah,
so that's great.
Yeah, I'm a
Front to the
massive Bowie
Past.
fan too.
Front to the Past is still right up top here. All right, next question. In Back to the Future Part 2, to which year in the future does Marty travel? 2020, 2030, 2015, or 2005?
I know. I'm there now.
So,
man,
do you know the answer to the? Would you know the answer to this?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Would you really?
There was something that I'm going to tell you afterwards because I was about to give away the answer.
Oh, okay.
I can give a hint.
Yeah.
It's in the past now.
It's in the past now. Let's see what people said. Oh, look at that. Everyone said 2015 pretty much. Are they right? Of course they are.
So what were you going to tell us?
October 21st, 2015, a group for the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future got together and walked on the set of Hill Valley in the Universal Studios back lot, and it was awesome. And I was
you were
there. Yeah.
Wow.
It was brilliant.
It was a fundraiser for Michael's charity as well. Ken Kapowalski and Joe out of Los Angeles, Ken out of Canada, originally put it together in, I think, just a few years before the 2015. The 2015 was their second time out doing it. Took over the town of Fillmore, brought out the original stunt guys and coordinators with these cranes and put hoverboards on wires so you could actually ride the hoverboards. And then if you had a means to do it, you could erase the wires to make it look like you were actually hoverboarding. We did an Enchantment Under the Sea dance where we shot the film, and Leah and about 15 or more of the cast and crew came out for that. The Flux Capacitors played that. I got to sit in with them on guitar, and Harry Waters Jr. sang Earth Angel. It was a really remarkable event, and
it was really
unforgettable.
Cool.
I bet it was. Which actor, here's one for you, which actor played both in Back to the Future 1 and Titanic?
Oh, that was, I know it, and I always forget his name.
Good.
For some reason, but I will think it's
Billy.
Yeah, it's the guy who was in Biff's gang. He was, he was in Biff's gang, and his name is a very simple one to remember, and I'm not remembering it right now.
He was also the, not the Arrow, oh dear, I forgot in Dead Calm. He was the bad guy in Dead Calm.
Was he really?
Bad guy in Titanic.
Sounds so much like Sam Cain.
Does it really?
William. Kimberly.
Joel.
Oh, Billy Zane.
Billy Zane.
Thank you. Billy Zane.
Next question. Finish the movie quote. You're gonna need a bigger. What's that?
So you didn't put that one in right,
Well,
did
I
you?
guess this is not right. So you're gonna need a bigger boat, or text.
So the way that this works and the way that it's supposed to work is we put this into a spreadsheet, and there's one thing where if you put the word text, someone who puts the trivia in needs to see which ones are multiple choice in text, and I guess he didn't review this.
I have no idea who did that. So let's see who answered biote. You know what? This is crazy. Somebody answered biote and somebody answered text.
That is just scary.
You're gonna need a bigger text.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe thought it was a trick question.
Someone put text. Okay, so father.
Well, this is a big epic fail, isn't it?
On whose part?
I have no idea. Next question.
Next
question.
Sorry about that, folks. Which Emma has starred in a Disney animated movie, a Pixar movie, and a Harry Potter movie? Emma Roberts, Emma Thompson, Emma Watson, or Emma Stone? This is a difficult one. Oh, no, he knows. Jeffrey knows. Absolutely. This is a great question. I love every single movie that she's in, too. It's a good one. All right, only 3 seconds to go on this one. Jeffrey, which one?
Boy, I hope I'm not wrong. I think it's B.
You think it's Emma Thompson? Let's see what most people said. Most people said Emma Watson. She was definitely in Beauty and the Beast, but that was live action. So I'm not sure if that counts. Let's see what the correct answer is. Emma Thompson is absolutely correct.
Did you know that?
I did know that. She was in Brave as well as the mother, and she was fantastic. Just an incredible actress. Andrew B., I feel like that last question was a throwaway because of the bout text. But anyway, we're moving on to the next one. Which movie was the first to show a flushing toilet? 50 Shades of Grey, Psycho, Gone with the Wind, or Citizen Kane?
Really?
One of these is the...
I have no idea.
You don't know?
No.
It's our producer Scotty over here. He gave me a sign that he knows the answer to this one. Do you know this one, Jeffrey?
I think so.
Yeah?
What do you think it is?
D?
B, Psycho? Let's see what people said. Oh, what?
D,
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Most people said Psycho. Only a couple people said Citizen Kane.
The blood going down the drain in Psycho was in the bathtub.
Yeah. Let's see.
But
they're right,
Psycho.
I guess.
But it was Psycho.
Oh, it was B. It was Psycho.
Look at that. They must have a bathtub. And they spent a lot of time filming in the bathroom for that movie. That was most of the movie.
Well, Front to the Past is in the lead. Andrew B., Sneaky Pete, and then a bunch of other people.
When I was at Universal, we used to, they'd have Lou Wasserman and Sid Sheinberg and folk would have us, the characters, do a lot of special events. And I did many events with Janet Leigh and Tony Perkins. I remember as Stan Laurel was assigned to escort Jimmy Stewart up the stairs for one of their big events celebrating their 60 millionth customer or whatever. And Jimmy Stewart was very fragile and aged at that time. I went right up to him, offered my arm to go up these steps, and he just pushed me away. And on his way up the steps, he tripped. I was like, oh no.
Oh.
It was like my big responsibility.
Wow.
But I was very fortunate to rub elbows with a lot of very wonderful legends, Bob Hope and just Ernest Borgnine, lots of great Universal folk.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wow. Next question. Charlie Chaplin wrote which iconic song? Smile, Uptown Funk, The Sound of Silence, and Minnie the Moocher. Have you ever heard the 1908 version of Uptown Funk?
It's a lot different.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot different than what Bruno Mars turned it into. Yeah. A few BPM off.
Though your heart is breaking.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right, I believe. Most people said Smile. Are they right, Jeffrey?
They are.
I got to throw something in here. We have a lady that works with us. She's from the West End, now living in Vegas, called Kellyanne Williams. If you've ever heard her, if you haven't heard her sing Smile, it is stunning.
It's gorgeous.
She did an acoustic version, sat in a car for some positivity messages that we were putting out when all this COVID stuff started happening. And she sung that song, and it was amazing. It's great, great. I love that song. It's
Absolutely.
such an uplifting song.
The first week of the quarantine, the shelter in place,
Yeah.
Kevin Bosch, who's an Uber Back to the Future fan, contacted me and asked if I would reprise my role as George in a scene. A gentleman named Taylor Morton up in Bend, Oregon, put together a fan remake, Project 88, where 300 fans from 9 different countries got to do a scene in 1 week from Back to the Future Part 2. So if you go to project88.com, you can find this. It's amazing. Some people use their kids, some used toys, some did animations, some were, not so great, and others were amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Totally worth it. Very, very creative.
Project 88.
Yeah, we have that link as well, so we're going to throw that in the comment section for everyone to check out, because that sounds really cool.
Absolutely. I'm going to look at
For
that.
you expats,
Yeah, exactly.
just about a month ago, I played Doc Brown in a remake of Back to the Future Part 1 as if it was written by Shakespeare.
Oh, nice.
It's called Get Thee Back to the Future, and the show must go online is the name of the group, and they're currently working their way through Shakespeare's entire canon. They've just finished Henry V, so they're halfway through. They've got 18 more to go, but they did a Shakespearean Back to the Future, like I mentioned, and a Shakespearean Cruel. What is it called? Star Wars, and check them out. They're brilliant performers, and they usually have just a few days to pull these shows together.
Wow.
And everyone's doing it from their home in quarantine.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
That is awesome.
A lot of good quarantine stuff coming out. Next question.
Go.
Which of these movies has not been made into a Broadway West End musical? Ghost, The Shawshank Redemption, Titanic, and Back to the Future. Which has not been made into a Broadway West End musical? Jeffrey, I have a question for you. Is there any of those movies there that you would like to have been in?
Oh, Shawshank Redemption, of course.
What a great
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Which role? Andy?
Role, of course.
Andy. Yeah.
What do you think the answer is, Jeffrey?
I want to say it's B. I don't think Shawshank was made into a musical.
Most people said Shawshank. Are they correct? Yes, they absolutely are. But that would actually be an all right musical, I think.
it would be, yes.
That'd be a really cool musical if you did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get busy living, get busy dying.
That would be a song in itself. All right, and there's one more question left, and Front to the Past is still right on top. Remember, the top 3 today get a prize from Jeffrey, so that's awesome. That's something to shoot towards. But there's one more question, so here we go. Which of these celebrities has Tom Hanks not portrayed in a movie? Sully Sullenberger, Fred Rogers, Walt Disney, or George Washington? That's a great,
I'm sorry?
that's a great catalog to have on your resume.
I know. I know the answer to this one, too.
Do you?
Yeah.
You're a huge Tom Hanks fan, so.
Jay Vladimirov says, God, I did terrible. Oh, well. Jay, drop us an email, Jay. We want to get you on the show and
Absolutely.
do all things Back to the Future.
That's right.
Indy Shah, Safari McFly
Hey, Indy.
said Indy Shah, Safari McFly is in the house.
He's great. Yeah, I'm friends with him on Facebook.
You know
He's a
Indy?
great guy, yeah.
All right. And Sam Kane said, a DeLorean, my kingdom for a DeLorean.
Oh, that's great.
All right. What do you think the correct answer is, Jeffrey?
Well, I thought Tom Hanks' George Washington was superb, but it was never released.
All right.
Most people said George Washington. Some people said Fred Rogers. That movie just came out last year or the year before.
What's it called?
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
That's the one.
That's right. So if you haven't seen Sully Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood or Saving Mr. Banks, which are the 3 movies that he did portray those other 3, you got to check them out.
Yeah.
Because they're great. But there you go. Front to the Past takes the win. They get the Pizza Hut bag, and they also get a signed picture of Jeffrey along with Sneaky Pete and seen 138 movies. You 3 get the signed picture from Jeffrey, and Front to the Past, you also win the $100 towards Tad Travel. So congratulations.
Who gets the Pizza Hut thing?
That's Front to the Past.
Front to the Past.
Front to the Past gets the Pizza Hut
love
packet.
it. I love it. We have your emails, and we'll be sending you them. That's great. Jeffrey, you did amazing.
It's going to be a week or so, because I have to send the stuff to you, and then you'll send it out. So
absolutely,
be patient.
Absolutely.
No problem
we have
at all.
time, right?
Yeah. Hey, Jeffrey, we have a question we ask every guest on every TED Talk. We'd like to do the same with you. If you could spend the next 60 minutes with any 2 people, dead or alive, could be historical figures, family, people you've lost, anyone, and any one place in the world, who would you like to spend the next hour with? Where are you going to go, and what are you going to talk about?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Wow. Let's see. Mahatma Gandhi, Tesla, Shakespeare. Dear God. That's a difficult question. Can I get back to you on that?
No.
Great. I suppose I'd like to spend some time with, once again, my grandfather, who I never got to know.
Yeah.
And I'd talk about his life.
Great.
That would be awesome.
Love that. Love that. Is there anywhere special you would go?
Gosh, there's so many wonderful places. I love the San Juan Islands and the Puget Sound. I love. I've been fairly fortunate taking shows to the South China Sea and various places in Europe, and there are so many. Gosh.
Yeah.
That is a difficult question.
Somewhere in nature, somewhere beautiful in nature.
Okay, well, you live up in a beautiful part of the world. Up there in Northern California is very, very good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the LA traffic was making me into a monster, and it was time to get out because traffic was happening 24 hours.
Yeah.
And my wife, my beloved, is in the wine industry, so
Oh wow.
this is a great home for that, and could support her up here in her endeavors. Since she supported me for at least 10 years in Hollywood.
That's great. I'm actually in the wine industry as well, in that I drink a lot of it. But that's the only reason.
What's your favorite varietal?
Yeah. What's my favorite varietal? I drink mostly Cab and different kinds. In fact, we just, and this is a very long story, but the short version is I now have a little bar at the house, and I got some aging barrels, some small 2-liter barrels, and I'm aging some red wine and I'm aging some whiskey. So 3 months from now, we'll bring you back on and I'll let you know how we're doing.
Okay, we'll do a tasting.
Yes, we will.
I do want to show something real quick before we come back and say goodbye. Because Jeffrey has been great. He sent us a bunch of footage and photos for us to use on the show today. And there was a commercially shot a few years ago that is just absolutely hysterical for a carpet company. Check this out.
This is all it costs?
Yes,
Okay, let me get this straight. This is all it costs?
that's right.
People have a hard time believing the great prices at California Carpet.
This includes installation?
Absolutely.
We'll take it.
Visit California Carpet in San Francisco and
Absolutely. That is fantastic. that's just been, I laughed so insanely the first time I saw that. That was great.
That is some costume change.
I wish I could have done everything because I had the full getup, but I just sat down seconds before that came back on. But I had to represent. And all the people watching right now who also cosplay Marty McFly are saying that's not the right color of the of the vest he wore in the movie. He never wore that hat with that vest. But anyway,
they are sticklers. I love the obsessiveness of the cosplayers. It's really wonderful, and they take it so seriously because it's so close to their hearts. One gentleman, Brad Fife, who put together Griff's gang that were at that event in 2015 you were at, he actually made me, since I was complaining obviously that the George McFly action figure that Funko or whoever put out doesn't look like me or Crispin. Definitely not me, but so he made me a George McFly Part 2 action figure,
nice.
which I'm sure will be mass produced in the very near future.
Definitely.
oh, that is awesome.
We got Mattel on the line ready to sponsor that.
That's right. Well, Jeffrey, this honestly has been such a pleasure having you on today. Thank you so much for sharing your career and your stories of both Back to the Future and beyond. It's just been brilliant.
Well, Nick, thank you for having me on. Next time we'll talk about Pale Rider or Johnny Dangerously or the Boys or any of these other films I'm in as well.
Absolutely. There's so much to talk about. We'd love to have you back on another episode and just keep going with the conversation. So I'm sure we'll have you back again in the future or the past.
Good, Terry. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks to everyone for joining us on TAD Talk. It's been wonderful. Don't forget to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow, for all our UK viewers, we have got a blast. We have got Mike Reed, the Radio 1 DJ legend, talking about all things UK music. And we got some pretty fun surprises in that too. That's tomorrow on TAD Talk. Today, it's been Jeffrey Weissman, which was mostly ended up talking about Back to the Future 2. So we're going to talk with Jeffrey and see if we can do a Jeffrey Weissman 2 and talk about all things not Back to the Future and bring Pale Rider and everything else in. It's been a great show today. Thanks so much, Jeffrey. I hope Northern California is nice and cool for you. We're in Phoenix where it's 190 degrees and it's crazy.
Well, everybody, please stay healthy, stay safe. Please, I know how hot it is and how uncomfortable it. Wear the masks. It really will help stop the spread of this thing. I've lost 3 cousins and several friends who have died.
Oh boy.
From it. It's very real. It's not a hoax.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the future.
We will see you in the
Absolutely.
future. Thanks to everyone for watching TAD Talk. See you, everybody.